boy George Billionaire. As you can see, I'm in my car. Summertime, it's unbearably hot. And yes, it is true. I'm driving cool, all windows closed. I want to give a special shout out to Pro Air Conditioning. They regassed my car and my offices, and in my car they said once your car is regassed with the original 134A gas, it'll last me a year. If anything happens within that year, I can come back and get my car topped up absolutely complimentary. And you know, before I was very tempted. I saw these other guys by the side of the road regassing cars, but I decided to go to Pro Air Conditioning because they have been in the business the longest and they will put the original 134A gas. Monday, it is what it is. Cappy Talk, hustle hard. We're on our way, and we're going to be talking about if you keep doing the same things, you're going to keep getting the same results. And there's an amazing definition given about insanity. And people who are called to be insane are people who keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and they're expecting a different result. So tune in, join us, make sure you subscribe, go watch all the Hustle Hard series that are there available on YouTube, and absorb, learn, but most importantly, apply. Let's go. A big shout out to all the pulsers tuning in every Monday. And as always, you know, on this show, definitely you're going to be PIE'd, provoked, inspired, and equipped. And most importantly, we want people to take action, because it's one thing just to hear these words coming out of our mouths, but more importantly, it's important to act upon these things and become really better people.
That is profound.
Like I just had like a deep moment right there, and I was like, I'm definitely at that point where I'm like, empower me, please, equip me, inspire me, provoke. Okay, I'm not so sure I'm comfortable with being provoked. I'm starting to provoke. But have you ever been provoked to a point where you go, man?
Yeah, you get pissed. The best type of provocation, guys, is when you get pissed, but you're like,
I need to do something. I need to do something about it. Last week we were talking about you never know what you can do until you try. You never know what you can do until you really put some effort into it. No looking back. You're consistent and you know exactly what the end goal is. Today we're taking it up a notch because George brought up a different aspect to it, and it had to do with put in the work. And I was like, I am sick and tired of hearing put in the work.
Just like our Bulawayo brother.
You know, just they were tired. They were like, Tabo. When are we literally going to go? Yes, let's go. Without portfolio.
Yeah.
What's not my accounts, but
Wow. Oh,
I'm so sorry
The
to you
account
guys.
was in overdraft. They took it all. Okay, come back.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
So you get to a point in your life where you are like, enough is enough. I really want to make that change because I'm seeing people around me doing things. I also want to do things, but and then you give up. Then I'm sure George has been tired at one point in his life. We want to know what he did at that point when he got tired. How did he get back up? What were those things that he did that others were not willing to do? Did he do late nights? If it was late nights, what was he doing up until 3 a.m.? What are those things that when put into perspective, you say, be willing to do what others are not willing to do if you want to be set apart, if you want to be above the rest, if you want to stick up like a sore thumb. There are those things. I'm one of those person, George, who are now like, I'm Darandabo. Right. How many times, how many glasses? Like in grade 5 terminology. What is it that we're supposed to be doing? Speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old, all right? Yeah.
So, I think one of the things people need to realize is people differ according to how hungry you want certain things in life. Now, people's appetites are different. People's wants are different. people's zeals are different. But what separates people who want the better life, trust you me, those people will be able and willing to do a whole lot more than what everybody else is doing in order for them to get those results. I've made a deliberate study of some successful people. And here on Hustle Hard, I always tell people that success leaves clues. Sometimes those clues are here on radio, sometimes they are in a book, sometimes they're in a documentary, sometimes they are everywhere. But then if you see all those successful people, they have one specific thing in common. One thing. They knew what they wanted. They were willing to do what everybody else was not doing in order for them to get that thing that they wanted. And most important, they were disciplined. Now, to people who are listening today, the reason why you are not where you want to be, or you don't have the life you have, is because of something very simple. You're not willing to outwork anybody else in your industry or anybody else in your department. And I remember when I used to work before I started Pro-Am, I was always that guy who was willing to work later, harder, have lunches with clients. It's not that I was working for the organization.
This is before Pro-Am.
This is before Pro-Am.
Okay.
Because I understood, there's a verse in the Bible, and a lot of people say, George, tirongotambira same amount of money, but hazvichinje chero ndakashanda sei. For me, I understood earlier on that when you're working, work like you're working to please your creator, not your boss. Make sure you put in the extra work and effort. What it does, it creates a different person in who you are compared to everybody else. To everybody who's listening, there are people at your workplace today, he works harder. If there's somebody to get a promotion today, most people would point to that person because that person is willing to outwork everybody else because there's just a natural work ethic in that person. And you find those people in life are most likely the people who end up making it because those people saw the bigger picture. Because I believe what we call the JOB, your job, it's preparation for something. For me, it was preparing me, little did I know, for me to become an entrepreneur in years to come. And look at what it has created in me now. Now I don't need anybody to supervise me.
Yeah. Because
I have that inbuilt work ethic already in me. I'll take a very simple example of people who go to the gym. A lot of people think wakaita weights kumba kwako and you have a treadmill and all that. It doesn't mean having that equipment at home makes you become fit and have a six-pack.
It doesn't?
It doesn't.
No.
Looking at food in front of you doesn't make you full, right? Looking at somebody who you have to do something that everybody else is not doing in order for you to have that. So those guys who go to the gym every morning, those people who are walking, when you're driving and you see, other racial people walking, some Africans do walk.
Other racial.
Politically correct.
Yes, politically correct,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
They are walking because they're trying to maintain a good lifestyle and a healthy life. So in life, even with us, the things you want, you have to be consistent in. If it's waking up every day because you want to work on your body, you want to be fit, you have to be willing to outdo everybody else.
But does consistency mean I'm getting it right all the time?
No, consistency, I remember when I used to go to the gym myself. You'd go there, first day it's painful, it's hard. And this is it with life, with anything. This thing called entrepreneurship, people need to understand it's not easy, right? Anything you want to start, trust you me, it's going to be very hard. Especially to somebody who's never done something. Your first day at work is the most difficult. But then once you get into it, it's going to become easier. Same thing with anything. First day at the gym, it's painful. You don't want to go back. But if you want to get ripped and you want the body you want, you have to be consistent. And there are a lot of people who will give up. And that's the thing with life.
Right.
There's always that picture we talk about the person who got their gold, their diamond. Remember, there are those two guys. One who got their diamond before the other. And then the other one gave up because he's like,
it's too far, man.
But then he kept on going. He was going to get a far bigger diamond and reward and gold and so much success had he not given up.
So is that the trick, George? Are we not giving up on the things that we have said we are setting our minds to achieve? Is that what we need to be doing? Like, don't give up. Ndavhura tuck-shop kangu, ndikutengesa zvinhu, right?
Yeah.
And the tuck shop functions really well for maybe a year. And then second year, daza, my guy, like I can't even afford to restock.
Yeah.
Right? Am I closing the tuck shop or am I restructuring?
Okay. You know, we've always said the abbreviation of the word fail. Right? Fail. People say you failed. It didn't work. Now, when it didn't work, you need to do a self-retrospect of why it didn't work. And fail, we've always said, is first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
So I have, in so many people's minds, failed. Remember, I failed my O-levels. I failed at the phone shop. I failed at so many things. But they were not failures. They were actually lessons in disguise to help me to become a better person.
Right.
So in life, Becky, if you have never failed at anything, you will never become great. You won't. Because most of the people we spoke about, Thomas Edison.
So I must fail.
You must. Failure is a bridge to success. I'll say that again slowly. In order for you to become successful, everybody who became successful, who is listening to us now, has failed at something. But that failure was an in-depth lesson on what not to do next time, and then they get it right on the next time. Remember, I told you when I started selling freezes at a young age, one of the things that messed up my business was giving my friends my freeze it on credit, right? That taught me that, you know what, no matter what, whenever you run a business, don't give things on credit, because uno broke and your business will go south because you wanted to be nice to people. So when you fail, understand this, there's a lesson behind everything.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lesson behind a bad relationship. There's a lesson behind a business that didn't last too long because you thought you and your friend Becky. And I always say this to people. Remember on the show we had a thing that is partnership good. There are lessons when you merge with somebody and then that business fails. You'll understand that no, we're different things that we wanted to achieve in life.
Right.
So you always learn something. But that lesson is better than somebody who never tried anything. And that's majority of people. Remember we said the comfort zone is the worst place for anybody to ever live in.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that grows in the comfort zone.
But George, you know what? Not trying to advocate for people who are like chilling in the comfort zone right now. If you're tuned in, you're listening to Capitalk 100.4 FM. We are live on the Capitalk Facebook. George is live on his page. I'm also live on my IG. And there's a message that just came through and said, George inspires me. And I was like, wow. Within minutes of just hearing, oh, George, and no, George inspires me, please. George inspires me. Right, back to my statement. Not to advocate for people who are chilling in the comfort. George Villeneuve, the motivator of our generation. I'll never forget that message. The motivator of our generation.
Yeah.
Not to advocate for people chilling in the comfort zone, but sometimes life really throws you punches.
True.
It throws you punches and you don't want to leave the house, you don't want to get out of bed, but you know you need to be doing something. Is there a time frame of being in that comfort zone? Because you really, maybe you can, but you really can't be saying to people, don't stay in the comfort zone. Please allow me to stay for it in 2 minutes while I think about the blow that life just served me. But I need to know what I'm thinking about while I'm in this.
Yeah, you know, Becky, the thing with me, I always give that simulation about going to heaven and seeing how much time you have left and what potential you could have created in the time you had on earth. People think they have what is called time. And I always say, when you get knocked down, don't stay down. Quickly dust yourself back up and get back up and keep going on that thing that you want to become, achieve, and actually hold. So people have this pity party on themselves. Right? You've fallen down, you failed. You want to tell the whole world, I failed, I tried, this, that, and the other. There are always lessons to be learned. I love people who have failed. I will help somebody who has failed at something than somebody who hasn't failed. I personally will rather invest in somebody who has had a business, it has failed, and they're coming back again to try, because that person has more experience than somebody who has never done it before. So with people, and this is why at the beginning I said it depends on what you want in life. We all have different wants. we all have different appetites. There are people who want 1 million,
Yes.
2 million, 3 million,
Someone
4.
four.
Right? There are different needs and wants.
Yeah.
So according to what you want, you'll be willing to outdo what everybody else is doing. And you know, it reminds me when I started Pro Air, Becky, early days, I used to go and stand at the robots, right? And I had twins. And Becky, you know, when you have twins and you're 27 and you're earning $300 and things are not adding up, and then you decide to go a journey less traveled. I didn't go to university. I couldn't chill in my comfort zone because I have a wife and kids who are waiting for me to provide. I couldn't chill in a comfort zone and just think, something will happen. And this is the comfort that many people have. And there are many people who wanotemba their dad, their mom, their uncle to take care of them. But this life, you, only you, and only you are responsible for where your life ends up.
Right.
But to the people who are willing to outdo all the legends in the country of Zimbabwe, did something that their peers didn't do, which is why today they are on the billionaires Forbes list, they are on the stock exchange in Zimbabwe, they are running successful enterprises.
Absolutely.
Why? Because they didn't sit in the pity party and complain about Zimbabwe is a tough economy, the Zig rate has gone this. What's happening in Zimbabwe is happening in every other country. Every country has its own challenges, right?
Pansy, having kids will wake you up.
Yeah. So every country has its own challenges, and get it correctly. If you do not take responsibility of your life, and for me, like I've said to you, remember what I said to you earlier on, Chino Chakandivura Maziso was going to a rich man's house.
And then you saw that, come
And
on,
I
man,
saw that,
life
wait
is
a
different.
minute. Wait, Munoyu, look, akakurira kuchitungwiza. He also didn't have a very good upbringing. He didn't go so far in education like what everybody thinks. Without education, you won't make it. It's wrong, because self-education in a specific field that you are doing is what's important.
You
Not
must
just
know
a blanket,
something at least, right?
not just the blanket education that all of us get. You had to study specifics in media because that's where your strength is.
Right.
And then you focused on that. But Rongo to masters, you know, I was at a master class this weekend.
Right.
With some amazing full house, amazing UZ students. But most of these students, get it correctly, not just UZ, many students from,
varsity
most
students.
of these guys are not studying what they personally want to study. They're doing it because that was the only thing offered. Their parents want them to fulfill their personal desires. But wakararama upenyu wekufadza vamwe vanhu, you're going to take longer to get where you're supposed to go. And then you know what the pity party blame is going to be?
What's the
I
pity
really
party
didn't
blame?
want to study this, but my dad made me do accounting.
And that's the statement you hear all the time.
And this is the thing. But if you don't take self-responsibility of yourself, like when I wanted to start and everybody was against me starting Pro Air and telling me it's not going to work, imagine that, Becky. I would not be on radio today. I would not have won awards. I would not be providing all these air conditioning solutions to people had I listened to other people's opinions about my life.
Yeah.
And I went to expos. I went to Shanghai. I went to learn more about air conditioning. Anything. I had to go and self-educate.
Literally investing back into yourself in the
because
field that
I
you
know
want
this
to.
is the thing that's going to take care of me.
Yeah.
So these excuses and pity parties will never get people anywhere.
I've
Just
got
keeping
Simon
on.
Moore who's tuned in. He said, the statement about your parents having money and everything. And so those are the people who say, "Do you know who my father is?"
True that.
Type of thing. So they don't even have that hunger as much as you do.
Becky,
and this is
I
you trying to
went
compare
to
yourself
school.
with them.
I remember Pandeno Siwak St. George's College. My dad used to drop me off in a city of Harare car, and people used to laugh at me. And this, that, and the other. And those guys who were well off, right? If you see those guys, and there's a serious gap now. There's a serious trap with parents who are very rich and wealthy now.
Yeah.
Because they think giving their children money is going to sustain them in life. But that's the worst. Because some parents have not even let their kids become independent. Now, I was talking to a couple over the weekend. I was telling them, have you ever sent your children to buy bread in the shop without you escorting them?
My God.
Worse off just sending them from your house to say, Chimboenda kuchitoro unotenga wodzoka.
Thank you.
But they're so used to know, why don't we just drive? Why don't you just...
Yeah.
So there's lack of training in the kids, which in the future yes, Becky, you grew up in abject poverty. You did not have the best life. But now what you are setting up for your kids for the next generation, you are spoiling them. But you're going to see your kids at 40 will still be staying at your house.
Never.
Because you have not trained them in the way they should go at a young age. You have, and Pataikura tough love was key.
No, these kids don't have the backbone for tough love, man.
They send them to the shops. They will be like,
no, I do. I send mine. I can send my kids, and I can trust they'll come back with change, with proper change.
But if you hear majority of people, and this is what's going to happen, if you don't do what we were raised doing at a young age, you are setting up a disaster of a generation.
Yeah.
This generation, you know, the generation G?
Generation Z and X.
Yeah, Generation Z. You're going to see they are not going to understand that you need to hustle. You need to work hard. Do you know who my father is? Are their statements?
No,
because growing up, remember for you, growing up,
and it's true. You know what? And your father or your parents could really be the shizness. All right, they really could be the it.
That's it.
But it's their money. It's not yours. It's their accomplishments, not yours. So with everything that we are like looking at and trying to go a step further and doing what others are not doing, there comes an aspect of pushing. Last week we were talking about trying and just figuring it out, right? Where do you stop before you become a nuisance? Or it's okay to become a nuisance. Keep knocking at that door until someone says to you,
yeah.
Or until you get a response like, yes, we do have an opening, or no, you know what, just stop right now, and then you knock at another door. Do I stop at caution to make way for bold decisions, or do I leave caution, like throw caution to the wind, go and get the thing, talk to that person regardless of what people will say?
I'll give a big shout out to Sadlik who came onto your Insta Live, and he's one person, trust you me, his trade, he plays the guitar internationally, he's gone to America, he's gone on worldwide tours. But do you know what? Had he listened when he kept knocking for opportunities, because guess what the sentiments are in the music industry? You'll never make it in this industry. You won't. And what that does, it blows out that fire in you, right? You're passionate about your hustle and your drive and what you want to do. But guess what? Had he listened to people, he would have never been now the guitar sangoma and whoever he is. Same thing with Ja Praiser. Same thing with Alec Macheso. Same thing with
pushed.
So that push is key, and it's self-driven. It's self-driven. Me, myself, and I was told many times, had I listened
you would not
to all
be where
these
you
people,
are right now.
Trust you me, none of us would be where we are today, because you were told, you won't make it in your life. In this look, there's so many people, but there's a uniqueness in you, in that thing that your gut knows you're supposed to do. So when you don't have that personal push, I always tell people that I have some amazing role models, and all of them, one of the major things that they said is that do not entertain anybody who wants to blow out the fire in the thing that you love to do.
Sure.
Get out of here, man. Get out.
If anybody is trying to tell you no, don't do it. Don't listen to those. Get rid of those people and go where you are celebrated and where there are people who are throwing that extra wood to keep your fire burning.
I don't know who else is at a place like where he's talking about, where you want to do something, but then there's voices coming from this side, voices coming from here, and then you are like in the middle. You're like, I don't care, but I care. Like I'm going to go and get what I want. I don't care what you say. Then there's a part that goes, but I really do care. I don't want to, that's where most people are, especially women. That's where they are. There's plenty businessmen that women can be in business with. But because of the fact that it's a woman dealing business with a man, like I could do deals with you, George, right? And I wouldn't care that men on this show. But that's the truth of the matter is people will talk I want to be in George these days, and then gossip starts, and then all of that. So that's one of the things that actually stops
people. Need to understand something. You know what I love about people with money? People with money do not care about the opinions
Do they really?
Small-minded people.
So, George, are you telling me
there are
that
three
you don't
types of.
care?
I don't care what anybody says.
Okay, George doesn't care.
Becky, there are so many people who said, "Hey, George Billionaire, hey, you're blowing your horn loud." But this is my own self-fulfilling prophecy. Whether you believe it or not, this is how I see myself to be in the future. It's my self-affirming prophecy, right? But to people who have money, there are three types of people. People who talk about other people who talk about ideas, and people who talk about, growth and helping each other.
Yeah.
And real money does not make noise, especially when dogs bark. They don't because they know.
George, from chickens to dogs.
No.
Jay-Z has a statement like, you're on the gram holding money to your ear. There's a disconnect. We don't call that money over here.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
That's right.
You're on the gram. It's not.
So you need to get away from this people's opinions.
Okay.
And if you see people with real money, you rarely see them, you really hear them talking about. I hang around with a lot of successful people deliberately because I too want that level of success. It's a choice. And this is going back to our point and our topic today. If you're willing to do what others are not doing, you will have what others don't have. So deliberately associating with successful people, deliberately talking about success and ideas and how to grow, that's what makes you different. But majority of people, Becky, listen to the conversations. If I hang around with you 2 minutes and already you're talking about something else, I can tell where your mind is. Your mind is not money minded. You're willing to talk about this, that and the other. But that's not progressive. It doesn't add any money to your pocket. But if you're telling me, hey George, I was thinking I was in Kwekwe, it's hot. I was thinking, why don't you open a branch there? That's good conversation because it's helping both of us. Going to be like, hey Becky, there's a wedding happening. There's a guy from Jamaica who wants to this, that. Those are progressive conversations. So those are all deliberate things we are doing to become better. But if you keep hanging around with the same minded people who are not doing anything productive, and I say this, the sum total result of success simply is a word called association.
Who is around
and
you?
If you hang around with the less successful people,
that's exactly
you
what you're
become
going
like
to
them.
be.
But if you are willing to do,
God help us.
And Becky, it's deliberate. I see some of the people and some of the events you are doing, Becky. Some of these, and I think even if you talk about how you get paid, there are some clients that, you have to cough to be paid. Then there are others who they just pay you upfront, no negotiations. That's because you've been associated with a specific group of people.
True. Yeah.
So when you hang around with those people, your business is easier. Whatever you're doing, it's far easier. But then if you hang around with those others, after this discount, but Ningi did this, it doesn't make sense.
I'm glad you brought that up. We've got 5 minutes left before we close it off on Hustle Hard with George Billionaire. We're talking about be willing to do the things that others are not willing to do, and just to encourage those of you who are tuned in, it's never too late to get back up at it and to push in a different direction with a different motivation, knowing exactly what it is that you want to put out there. I'm going to take some questions now. So there's questions on Instagram, there's questions on WhatsApp. I'm not so sure if there's any questions on Facebook, but I'll take this one from WhatsApp. It says, George, I'm working very hard starting a small business, but my other partner is messing up the business by giving credit to relatives. What can I do so that that's the obstacle of my success? We're in business together, but I
think we spoke about it, and if they can get in touch with me, I'll send them the audio on partnership, right? And we don't have a lot of time to discuss it in length. But when you see something that is causing your business to fail, cut it off, otherwise it will grow and it will cause you to go 10 steps back from where you are.
Right.
Credit, especially in this day and age, this giving credit, trust you me, you'll feel like you're a beggar or you're asking
when you're
somebody
asking for your own money.
And remember, it's rather better you keep that product in your storehouse than to do something for somebody on credit. Otherwise, I can guarantee you 6 months down the line. And also getting the right type of partners. Don't just partner with people
because you just want to be in business. Let's get into business.
Looking cool and Becky, I'll give you this hair, and then 6 months later you don't have enough money to buy and restock. Then your business goes broke and bust because of yeah, business is business.
Right, and then this one is from Eversont_ZW on Instagram. Thank you so much for your message. Eversont says, cycle of poverty is hard to break, Mukoma.
And I think you, from now on, are going to be the one who breaks it, because you now have the information. Because information is the difference between people who make it or not. And lack of information is what keeps people in poverty. So if you're listening, and you have been listening to Capi Talk every single Monday, you are going to be the first millionaire. You're going to be the first person to have 4 million, 10 million, $1 billion in your generation, because you're applying these things that we are telling you into your life.
Yeah.
So in my family, I was one of the first entrepreneurs. There were many entrepreneurs, but guess what? You're going to be the first one who's going to break that generational curse.
Absolutely.
And hakuna zvinhu zvakadaro zvokuti generational curse. Trust you me, there are certain things that you can break deliberately, because if you keep complaining and saying no, poverty is this, that, poverty is a mindset. Let's remember that. And all you need to do is upgrade your mental software, hang around with successful people, and I can guarantee you, if you're willing to do what everybody else is not doing, you definitely will become successful.
Right, there's one more from Mirella K. I think we're just going to just read them out. Next week, Anzi George, what is your thoughts on debt to kickstart your project?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's suicidal.
Don't
do it. Just don't. Because I won't.
Because you.
So just don't.
You summarized it.
Most of them are funded by credit. Like most of the big businesses, they take credit.
Yeah, big. Listen to this. Big businesses, it's okay to get credit. Startup, you cannot get credit.
Big business, get credit.
Credibility.
Startup,
you haven't started yet. We had so many banks giving loans to the youth. Did they get their money back?
No.
Because they are not yet knowledgeable and mentored on how to run a successful business. So yes, getting a debt and a loan to grow your existing business.
Yeah, George can talk forever. George can talk forever. Right. Uncle Billy on Hustle Hard. Join us again next week, Monday, 12:30 to 1 p.m. It is 1 o'clock. Stand by for the news.
And let's, from today onwards, be willing to outdo yourself. If you keep doing the same things, I can guarantee you're going to keep getting the same results. But if you're willing to outwork yourself to be better than you were yesterday, sooner than later, you're going to become great and successful. So let's keep watching, let's keep tuning in to Capi Talk, and let's apply what we've heard. And I can guarantee you. No. Don't do it. Leave credit alone. Do not do it at all.
Another one here says, I like the aspect equity information. We lack information.
Sure. My people perish for lack of knowledge, especially prosperity knowledge. We have all the other books.
We have all the other, thank you, right?
We know the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What is it? Cumulonimbus clouds, the grasshoppers. All of that. But when it comes to making money, but when it comes to making money, we don't have that knowledge. And this is what you're getting.
There's actually a post I saw. It said black people especially. It said black people love money, but they know nothing about money.
True. Because we love the fact. But imagine if you get the simplest way of seeing how money will grow in your hands. Like if I give you $1 million in 6 months, either you'll have zero.
6.
Okay. I'll give you 2 weeks, Maggie. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And it will show me your mindset.
Yes.
So imagine when you have $10,000, your mindset is shown when you have money. And most of us, black people, we are consumers. We don't know how to make money. So we know how to eat quickly. We eat. But eating does not give money back to you. You need to invest. Stock. And get that money back. Because, and I think we need to do it. I wanted to talk about the parable of the talents. The guy who got 1, 5, and 10.
Yeah.
Most people, they get $10,000. They say, here's your money. But that's not it. You didn't do anything with it. The other guy got, and he multiplied it by 5, the other one by 10. And that's a serious question to people. Who are you? If you got 100,000 today, and you were given 3 months, what would you do with it? Would you multiply it? How would you? And majority of people, believe it or not, they won't even know where to start.
No, because
they'll
people
spend
will
a month
based
thinking.
on where their mind is at that moment.
But this is the key thing about this.
Yeah.
Your money is always very close to where you are. Always.
It's not far.
It's not far. Becky, with you, you're in media. What you do on radio, you actually do outside.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So your money, all of your money, is very close to what you originally are doing. Same thing with me. My money, yes, it's an air conditioning, but I also talk, and there are also things I like to do with, a lot of things that I do. So your money is always close to you, and that's the key thing with us. What are you good at? What have people complimented you on? What product and service can you supply to people at a profit? Those are the key things that you need to look at. Because if you don't know where to start, you are the most dangerous person. Because imagine...
Although you don't know where to start.
I've said this. President Akakona today wants to Becky, what can I do for you?
I know exactly.
But not a lot of people can answer that. I know exactly what I want. And this is what you need to look at with yourself, Kochi. What have you ever written down? What is it that you love to do? You don't even have a vision. And because you don't have a vision, that's why nothing is coming your way. But wherever there's a vision, Elohim, the Most High God, He will provide. He will provide the provision. Had I not started Pro Air Baking, do you think all this would be happening?
No, we wouldn't even be
so
here.
You have to have a product and a service first, and then God will amplify whatever it is you're doing, and people will come and buy that thing.
True story. Anzina Zoro yakuzumba.
All right, Zoro, what are you talking?
What are you
What are you talking? What are you talking?
Not Gamarierent.
What are you
I
talking?
think this is the final question.
Yeah.
Because we need to let George go. Anzi, what do you do if you have an idea that needs funding? If you start slow, you risk those with money taking over your idea. What are your thoughts?
Idea without funding, liquidate the things you have. Start it by yourself. Start small. Remember, we spoke about it last time. There's a guy who had come to me. He's driving a nice car. He's got the latest phone. He wants to start a business, but he has these assets. Liquidate this if you're serious about what you want to do. Start small. Start small.
But
and then gradually.
If I start small, George will come and overtake me.
Do you know when you look at when you looked at all the companies that started that are big now? They started in the car. They started in the back garage. They started with one and then they grew. So let's not get peer pressured by society. You want the desk, the oak teak desk, the car, you're looking good. No, it's okay kukwira kombi for a season whilst you're investing in what you want. Because I know that. I went through that. I was mocked, ridiculed, laughed at. But remember, I had twins. I had certain things. I didn't care about the people's opinions. And with this person who's writing this, they are so concerned by driving that small car and people saying, Becky, you used to be in that big car, now you're driving a small car. You shouldn't be defined by the car you drive, especially if you're a startup entrepreneur. Focus on growing your business little by little. Soon that business will become great.
George, thank you so much. When is the next masterclass?
The next masterclass is first week of November. We're actually posting it out today. Yeah, I had another engagement on the date, so we're trying to see if we can squeeze it up. But definitely make sure people subscribe, follow George Billionaire on my Instagram, and you'll know more about the masterclass. Becky K,
motivator of our generation. What are you talking? What are you talking?
What are you talking?
I don't see George. Gustav, how are you feeling?
I'm alright. I feel blessed. And inspired, of course.